Hi, Statesman Nation. Welcome back as we are at number one now for the stories of the decade. And joining me today is head men's basketball coach John Henry, as well as associate head men's basketball coach Blake Sandquist. And as you can guess, number one is the run of incredible success by the men's basketball team during the 2010s. Not really anything in particular, just a lot of conference titles, a lot of trips to nationals, highlighted by the advancement all the way to the national championship game in 2012-13. So there's just so much to talk about, Coach. So I guess I'll let you kind of start and talk about just I know when you started in 2001, 2002 was your first year, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing all right? Okay, yeah. Could you have ever imagined that this would have happened?
No, not even close. I mean, I was just happy to have a job,
Right.
And trying to keep that job. Brandon Linhart was my top assistant those first few years, and we were just trying to have a winning season,
Right.
and be competitive. This was never in the plans. I'm glad that it has, obviously.
Yeah.
And we were proud of those lean early years because that was a lot of fun in building it to where we are now. I will say that we thought the early years was the struggle. That was the fun stuff.
Right.
Staying at the level that we're at now is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people truly realize that because everybody, it's like everybody gives you their best game every single night. And the pressure that is having to play at that high, intense level that the other team brings every single night is very difficult on the players and the coaches.
Right.
This is a really bad analogy, but like when Duke goes to Clemson, it's packed.
Yeah.
When Wake Forest goes to Clemson, there's nobody there.
Right.
And the intensity is completely different. Anytime we lose a game on the road and somebody rushes the court, we take it as a compliment. But it's been a blast. I can't complain about it. I mean, I don't want you to get the wrong idea.
No.
We're thrilled with what's happened the last 10 years, but we're also thrilled with the previous 9 before that. They were just different.
Yeah. Right. I've said that many times where I thought it's easier to keep a team at a level versus building it up to that. But what you just said actually kind of maybe throws that in my face a little bit, and I'm going to probably have to rethink my whole thought process there. Thinking, I mean, yes, it might be easier to continue to win, not win at a really, really high level, but to be a successful program and always have winning seasons. But again, remembering that is the case. Everybody always wants to beat that team.
Yeah.
They don't care about just beating anybody, but if you're the top dog, they're always looking
And
at getting you.
And with you celebrating our last 10 years, those previous 9 before that need celebrated with this 10 because they built it.
Yeah.
We didn't have Nike gear and these nice travel stuff and Jordan and everything that we meals after home games and stuff. We were eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and we've just had a lot of really good players, a lot of really good coaches, and it's all just fit really well. A lot of good parents too.
Yeah.
Support from the community and the school. Great administrators, Audison, Laird, Krishner, Greg Hafner, Nick Rule, and others. I'm going to forget a bunch, but we've had great compliance directors, admissions counselors, financial aid, business office, maintenance, student services, sports information, cafeteria. I mean, weight trainers. Who am I forgetting? I mean, just a lot.
I don't know. I don't put
a lot of people have aided in all this, and it doesn't go forgotten at all. We totally appreciate everything, and I hope everybody knows that.
Yeah. Blake, talk about you've been on both, and both of you guys have been on both sides of the coin here.
Not really. I was terrible.
But you played.
We were bad, and I was bad. He was good, and we were good. So talk to him about the player aspect.
But within the Coach Henry coaching era, you've been on both sides of it as being the coach as well as now being one of his colleagues, I guess. Talk about what it's been like, during this whole process of again, it's not that they were lean years when you played. It was give me the years.
07 to 2010.
Yeah, I mean those were solid years, and that's when we got our first trip to nationals and started winning the first conference titles, all of that. So it wasn't as if you came in and it's been garbage and you see on all sides. I mean, we've had a couple bad years, but honestly, it's been mostly success. But again, not to the level of what we are now talking about. You know, 13 years later.
Yeah, I mean, the first few trips to nationals, I wasn't there for the first one, but I was there for the first couple, and we were really just happy to be there. But then when 12 and 13 came around, we finally won that first game, even though it was a struggle against McPherson. It's almost like it opened the gates to like, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And that team had an incredible run. The next year was special, and we had a down year. But then just over the last few years, like Coach said, we've been blessed to have great coaches that have helped us. We've recruited some great kids and families to our program, and had a lot of help along the way. It's been a blast, and it's honestly addicting.
That's a phrase we use all the time.
There's been some years where we've been down, and it's like, man, we really missed the good days, and we want to get back to that. And it is tough to keep it going, but like I said, we've had some really good players come through here, and some really good coaches that help. So,
well, we've talked about in the past the unfair expectations of this program for what you guys have done, and now looking at last year alone, like a 22-12 year, which is normally probably a record-setting year for most programs, and we get to the second round of the tournament, everybody's like, well, I guess there's always next year. You got this whole like Chicago Cubs feel like,
Coach
oh man,
Sandquist said it best. He's like, we would punch ourselves in the face because we were ahead by like 26 points this year at halftime, and we're unhappy with the play of our team. And he's like, if we could go back to last year, second semester, we would really be angry with ourselves. We were winning any game by any amount last year. And like you said, we were 22-12, went to the Sweet 16. It wasn't like it was a bad year. But like you said, the expectations are so high. I said earlier that I was just trying to keep a job and have a winning season. And then when we started to get it going, my goal was to be overrated. I really wanted to be overrated. And I think we've kind of met that. I know that sounds a touch arrogant, but it's really just, a goal. We got to reset goals all the time. And one of my goals about somewhere in the middle of all this run was let's have a year where we're ranked like some outrageous number when we don't deserve it. And we've had a couple of those.
We have, I mean,
we've had quite a few of them actually. But Coach Sandquist, I had Brandon Linhart and Joe McKinstry and then Blake Sandquist. I've been blessed to have 3 excellent assistant coaches, a million other assistant coaches, but the 3 main guys were those 3, and all 3 have different characteristics. I feel like I've adapted to all 3 of them. With Brandon and I starting it, and Joe in the middle, and Blake here on this end of it, it's just been awesome. And we were just talking about his journey as a statesman. I spoke in a clinic in 2006, Orv Salmon's clinic at DMAC, and I met his uncle. And his uncle said, you should recruit my nephew. And he's been here ever since. That's really strange. And that's awesome. And there's a million stories like that of how people got here. Each story is incredible. We've had a lot of All-Americans. Coach here has probably orchestrated some of the greatest players that have ever played here, specifically over 16, 17, 18, and now 19 and 20. Our run of players over that time is 100%, 90% credited to him.
He was almost going to give you full credit.
Probably 9% to Justin Wyatt and 1% to Joe Reagan. With a couple other assistants included in there with airport runs and stuff like that. But he's got an excellent eye for talent and an excellent, recruiting strategy. And it's been this decade has been fun. We did have one losing season in there.
There was one that snuck in right at the transition of going into the heart.
It's the only losing season since my first full season. We went 15 and 18 my second year, but we went 14 and 16 in 2011. Because the next year, 12, it was AD's run to nationals where we almost beat Davenport. And I think that year where we went and took on Davenport, if I want to believe, we were the 29 seed. And we were ahead on Davenport the whole game, and they ended up pulling it out in the end. AD, I think, had 36. Alan Douglas from Champaign, Illinois. The feel of our team after that game, knowing we were going to have almost everybody back and get Kevin Fay and Brandon Beasley off redshirt, we knew we were pretty dang good. And we were preseason 19. in 12-13, that magical run that we made the national champion, and we knew we weren't number 19. I mean, I remember practicing in the pack, and Tony Danielson went between the legs and dunked. We were running around, and it just had a special feel about it.
Yeah.
Obviously led by Brandon and Keith, but we had a lot of really good players on that team, and they were so close. Hung out all the time. Their motto was out the gate. But their other motto was, if we're going to get in trouble, we're going to get in trouble together. So they followed through with that, and it was just a great, great year. And I think if you'd asked the longtime Statesman fans over the last 19 years, they would say, that was a really special group that everybody still remembers to this day. And we still talk to almost all of them on a regular basis. And it was a great, great time.
Yeah, I do remember. I always gave you a hard time that you'd come in and preseason like, yeah, we might be okay. I don't know. We're not really sure. That year was a 1 year that you actually said, and I think you switch over from sandbagger to the coach being a confident coach, knowing what he had. And you're like, we're going to be pretty good.
You got to be careful.
And you didn't know you'd be 34 and 2 good.
You got to be careful when you do that because you got to be right.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And we had to stay healthy, which we did. We did stay out of trouble. There was one night in the fall where something went down that was kind of funny now. Young men being young men, but during the actual season, we didn't have any issues, and it was just a magical time that we all remember. My daughter, we were talking, and I don't know if there was something on Facebook that showed up, and there was a picture of her with us at St. Ambrose on the bench, and she said it's hard to believe that was 7 years ago.
Right.
Because in her life, 7 years ago was
a long time. Right.
For me, it feels like it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
And we've had really good teams since then, and that team really set the bar, and it's helped in recruiting. Like Blake can sell guys on, we're going to win the national title, or you will have a chance to go pro along with getting your degree, because that group and the guys before them set that, and we've taken it and run with it, and it's just been blessed.
Yeah. Let's talk about the transition into the Heart. That was the year before that was the last year that you did have a losing season, but you knew you were building for. And I guess maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but you're building for something bigger, knowing that this change to the Heart, more importantly, a change to NAIA Division I basketball, you knew was going to be a big deal, and everything had to be changed. I mean, it was a reinvention of what William Penn basketball was going to be.
Yeah, and I'll answer quickly, and then I'll give it to Coach Blake here. We talked about it, and we planned ahead of time, and we knew that institutionally and financially nothing was going to change, so we had to come up with what our plan was to get the proper players, because we're going to another level.
Yes. Right.
And I teased, I just recently told Leisha McGee this, Eric McGee's mom. I admitted this story to her, which I don't know if she liked very much, but I teased Eric McGee and Logan Alexander their senior years that I'm glad they were seniors because they weren't going to be able to play in the future.
No. Yeah.
And that was a joke, but it's probably the truth. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but we had to get better players to compete at this level at a high level. Yeah. And Coach orchestrated that right away. You want to tell them what we did?
Yeah, I mean, I had went down to the national tournament the year before. I think it was the year before that.
Right.
And
he came back and said, wow, we've got to get better.
There's bigs. We didn't really have great bigs outside maybe Keith Stefan and some guys back in like 08.
Right.
And there's just grown men out there, and it looked a lot different than what we looked like and what the MCC looked like.
Definitely.
So yeah, we found some transfers, and we ended up bringing them in to redshirt guys like Brady Burford, Stephen Roundtree, Jeff Drew. Kevin Smith was already here. A few others that I'm forgetting. But yeah, so we prepped ahead of time. So that kind of led us into the next season. And it's worked out pretty well.
We had 10 of them that first year, and 9 of them made it to the following year. So they were red shirts, and they were transfers, but they had really all been here.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was we had a good team in 2015. Had a lot of injuries and didn't make it out of the conference tournament to go to Branson, but they were getting their butts kicked every day. Mm-hmm. And there was a lull during the season where me and Coach didn't know if we were going to win any games that year. Well, playing against those guys in practice really made them better, and we ended up winning 20 and 12.
20 games.
Yeah, 20 and 12.
If Shane Bosick doesn't get hurt, we'd probably go to nationals. But
true, right.
Then coming into next year, those guys already knew how we did things. But it was interesting because of all the new places we were traveling to and all the teams we were playing, and it was all new. So for that first group in 16 to win the league, I think we were 28-7.
Yeah.
28-7, went to the Elite Eight, lost to a great Georgetown team.
Yeah.
Had a couple All-Americans in Roundtree and Burford, and a lot of that team was coming back too. So we knew in 17 we'd be nice as well, and it just kind of continued.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. One of the, I don't really want to attack them. The 1 year guys.
Yeah.
You knew I was going to bring it up eventually.
Yeah, I figured.
But the 1 year guys, that's another part of not just William Penn basketball, NAIA basketball, just all basketball in general, and maybe just collegiate athletics right now with how many kids just transfer. I mean, it's just constant. There's very few that stick around for all 4 years at one place, and that was part of a huge part of our success is that these guys came in, we gave them one last chance, and everything, and they were, they made a massive improvement to the team.
Let's call it like it is. We've been called Last Chance U before.
Right, yeah.
We know exactly our identity.
Yeah.
We don't try to do that.
Right.
If we could get all 4 year kids, we would. We have some nice 4 year kids on this year's team.
Definitely.
There's not as many transfers, but Dexter Hood is a
Right.
1 year guy.
Right.
And he's arguably our best player. But everybody else, he's the only 1 year guy on this year's team.
Right.
It's a little different than the previous years. But that run of 16, 17, 18, 19, yes, there were a lot of 1 year guys. Some people like it, some people are impartial to it, and some people don't like it.
Right.
However, you can't argue with the results on our record. For the most part, many, not all, but many graduated. Not all of them. A lot of them played overseas or are playing overseas. So I would argue that was a success for them individually. How do you turn down somebody like a Torrin Jones?
No, exactly.
Or a Stephen Roundtree. I mean, to me, they're such good players, and yes, there might have been some red flags for other people not to take them.
Right.
But our school allows us to give people a second chance. It's the Quaker way.
Straight in our mission statement. Yeah.
And people would be amazed at how many guys we take like that don't play for us.
Right.
Because we had to discipline them and send them on their way. It was your last chance, now you're done.
Right.
But the kids that take advantage of that chance really make it work.
Yeah.
And it started a long time ago with Norman Prather was our first 1 year Division I transfer.
Right.
And he's a great success, lives here in town. Great father to his daughter Alexis, and I like seeing him around town.
Yeah.
There's been others, but we always talk about some of the guys who never made it into a jersey and how great players they were. I mean, wow, we could rattle off some names.
Yeah, there's some names, right? Yeah, but no, that's exactly it. Is that give them that one chance, and you guys drop the hammer right away and say this is it. You have one chance, a zero tolerance, saying all of that, and you know what? They end up coming out way better guys. I think across the board, not everybody, but they come across and end up better than what they came in.
I want to reiterate that if we could get all 4 year guys, we would, because you can build such a better relationship with 4 year guys. You get to know them inside and out. Some of these 1 year guys, it's hard to get to know, with just 1 year. But again, we and he is searching for the best available that fits what we're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. To sit you guys down some other time and talk about an all-decade team, that would be.
We do that all the time.
I know you guys talk about it all the time, but there's there's just so many names that would pop.
We just recently did the top 10 opponents that we've played against in the heart of America, and that usually lasts us a week. We'll throw somebody out there.
Right.
Coach Wyatt, and Coach Don are in on that too. The young GAs, they don't know anything, so
they don't
they're not
understand
allowed to speak.
right? But basically, in the end, I mean, an amazing run that continues into this year, and we're now into the 2020s, and continue to be a top 5 team, and continue to look at chasing that elusive ring. But I know it hasn't been all about just winning that national title. I know that yes, you want to. Obviously, that's a given, but that's not why you guys are in coaching. There's getting these guys through and helping them onto a better life. But just congratulations on a tremendous run that's been going on for a long time, all the way back in 2001, 2002, when you thought, man, we can't win a single game. But going 2-31 year and 34-2 another year during this whole Henry era. So.
I think the special part of it is not just the players and coaches, but the fans, the wives, the families. Like, Whitney and Wyatt don't know anything other than men's basketball in the winter, and they're normally going to win. My son is 18 going on 19. My daughter's 16 going on 17. They don't know anything other than Wilmington basketball. My wife, my mom, my dad, rest in peace, and my in-laws, and brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and my sister and all her kids, and he can say the same. I mean, his brother was part of the program for 2 years, 3 years, and just all the families and all the people that have enjoyed it makes it a lot of fun. And I hope that they know that they're just as much as part of it as anybody else. I mean, the diehards like Joe Crookham and Cal Van Arkel and Matt Seville and some of those people, I'm going to leave a ton of people out. I shouldn't even start with that. But that's been a blast. The former players that still care, not just about the Grandview game, but that I hear from all the time. Good win, great win for us. Kind of get some new gear. I get that a lot.
Right, yeah, sure.
But that's been the best part of it, and we've always said family. 1, 2, 3 family when we bring it in, and it really does feel like that. So I want to thank everybody, the fans, the players, and everybody that supported us for the last decade and the last 19 years, because it has been an absolute journey that I just keep hoping that I don't wake up from this dream, because I can't believe from where we came from with 19 straight losing seasons and that first year going 2-30 to sitting here doing this story about the story of the decade and all that we've done. So thank you to you, Wade. You do a great job covering us as well.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun covering the wins and the losses for sure, and we've had tons of them. So, Blake, anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
We're
just
good.
Thanks to everybody for all the support.
Yeah, definitely. All right, once again, Blake Sandquist and John Henry, the head men for the men's basketball team, which got the #1 story of the 2010s, fully deserving. So, in the future, look for a lot more wins from these guys as well as all the other teams. StatesmanAthletics.com is your home for Statesman Athletics.
And I hope we're here 10 years from now.
Right, there you go. Talk again. Thanks. Yeah.